Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. We all have a light within us. Sometimes that light shines brightly, sometimes not. Sometimes it needs to be activated. And there are many times where the light is somewhat dim because we're dealing with things or dealing with things from our past that we haven't healed from. We're going to talk about that today and how you can really truly move your life forward once you harness the power of energy and also energy healing. And she's somebody that can help you do that. Her name is MaryElizabeth, and she joins us today. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. Thanks for having me, Steve. I so appreciate you.
I appreciate you being here. And we are together today to
Yes.
shed some light on this for others and also and ourselves. The power of we, that word, two letters, is very strong for you. Why does
It
it
is.
why does it resonate?
It is very significant for me because I've had gifts my whole life, but after my husband's passing a little over 12 years ago, um, I had an awakening, so to speak, where the energies that I've heard my whole life came through and asked me to have a meeting with God. So I went to a mountaintop as instructed, and I got this whole download of energy that initially I had no idea what was said to me. And then within 45 minutes, I began to speak. And my friend was taking down the information as I spoke. And basically, I was told God is going to be speaking through me. And for me, that was frightening because I'm a good Catholic girl. That was my upbringing. And God doesn't speak to ordinary people. And the interesting aspect here, to me, it was easy. They began identifying themselves as we are here. We are one. We are the oneness of all things. So I just began referring to the energy I bring through as we, because we are one. We are all connected and we are all one light from within. And that is the energy that I help others connect to.
When you said the word they a moment ago,
Mhm.
who are they?
They is the full collective of all energy. They is we. They is the oneness of all knowledge, all existence, all energies.
I'm fascinated how you got the call, so to
Yes.
speak. And can I say that you had a spiritual awakening?
I actually had a spiritual awakening before that moment. I got the call actually when I was 3. That was the first memory I have of God speaking to me. And I have a few throughout my lifetime, most when I was a child, and then again in my 30s when I was trying to deny what I could do. But the spiritual awakening that I felt was almost a dying of my physicality. I became very ill. And in that illness, I connected to these energies outside of me. I began hearing angels speak. The dead that I have always seen were constantly present and as if they were right in the room with me. So to me, that was my spiritual awakening. And that began almost 20 years ago, 16 years ago, 2008.
Are you able to connect with the other side? You mentioned those that have passed on. Just curious.
Yes, yes, I do. That was my first connection. My earliest memories of being in the crib, I could see dead in the room that nobody else was interacting with but me. And I could see angels too. I didn't know what they were, but I knew they were there. And I do initially when my gifts reawakened, and I say reawakened because I spent my lifetime trying to deny who I was because I was warned at a very young age. Don't tell people what you see, they'll think you're crazy. And that's true. People do think I'm crazy initially. But then when they sit down with me, what they realize is when um, the spirit of their loved one steps into my physicality, it literally changes the way I sit, the way I speak. Sometimes it changes my eyes, which is really, fun on a first date.
I don't think you're crazy. I really don't.
I appreciate that.
There's insight coming from you. I'm intrigued. Um, do you feel that many of us, best description, are lost? And and this is not about religion, but we're going through life feeling that there's more, and it's not. It's I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but there's more out there. And we're fixated on money. Money comes and money goes, and you're always worried about that. There's more to life than all of that. There's a deeper, call it spirituality, that many of us, yeah, maybe we're afraid of the woo woo. I'm not, um, but we haven't tapped into it. Do you think that's what's going on for many of us?
What I'm going to say here, and I want to be loud and clear here, because spirituality, when referred to, some people think of that, as you said, woo woo. Others think of it as an affront against their religion. Religion is just a means for people to know God. Spirituality is just a means for people to know God. Um, the God of our religion is structured in a way that to many is too controlling, so some are afraid of that. But really, what we are here to bring is this sense of connection, the sense of community, the sense of knowing we are all one, and that within each and every one of us is that God spark, that space of energy, that inner self. And that is what we are all searching for. But because we have a tendency to live our life on autopilot, like if you've ever been in the car and you're driving somewhere and you get there and you go, how did I even get here?
Hmm.
You don't remember the drive. You just got there because you're on autopilot. And we do so many things on autopilot based on the patterns that we've established
Sure.
on how life should be. But the further away we go from the core of our inner self, the more we start to search, the more disconnected we feel. And in moments of chaos, especially, we know there's more out there. So I don't believe people are lost. I think they're just disconnected.
And when you talk about autopilot, tell me your thoughts on this. Right away, I get it's your subconscious. When you drive somewhere and you don't even know how you got there, but why didn't I crash? Because your subconscious was driving. It's taking care of you. And it's been said, even through research, that our subconscious is 90 something percent of our waking hours. The rest, call it 10%, 8% is our consciousness. So we're on autopilot, just like you said. And part of the autopilot is from way back, childhood,
Yes.
things that we
Yeah.
dealt with.
Yes.
And now we're still dealing with them as adults. And therein lies the challenges that many of us have, but we don't know what's going on, why we can't move forward, why we can't make money, all of that.
We refer to what you call the subconscious mind as a patterned response. It's almost as if it were a computer program that is just your default. It runs automatically. It takes care of you based on past experience. Its job is to take care of you. But unfortunately, it can only give you the knowledge that you have been through. And here's the thing, the past is past, it no longer exists. But as you said, what you are formatting your life on, you learned as a kid. Believe it or not, the majority of what you hold as your true fundamental foundational beliefs, you learned by the age of 3 to 5. Nothing against little children, you see, but their perspective is limited. Their understanding, their ability to interpret what is happening is limited, but it creates your core beliefs.
Yep.
So that you mentioned money. So if you grew up as ME, that money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't come easily. What does she believe? Money doesn't come easily. And we speak of ME, Mary Elizabeth, in the third person because we are here. We are speaking to you, just to be clear.
And thank you for that. And I completely agree with it. that we even will self-sabotage based on those
Exactly.
things that our parents would say all the time. And who had what child has not heard money doesn't grow on trees? Watch what you're doing there. Don't spend, blah, blah, blah. Well, some children will grow up as adults, and that will be their foundation for abundance. And
Exactly.
or their subconscious wants to make you happy. It doesn't know the difference between good and bad. So it knows, oh, wait a minute, money is scarce. So we got to be careful with money. We're not going to allow you, whoever you are, Mary Elizabeth, Steve, whatever, to have more. We're going to do everything to make you stop from making money, to sabotage. You go over a job interview, you fail the job interview, you put a monkey wrench in that because your subconscious was believing that you're not supposed to have money.
Exactly.
How do you
You
support
create,
people?
oh, we apologize. How do we support people? We
Yeah,
help them see that if you stay in that autopilot, that default, that um, haphazard living pattern that you all take, it is near impossible if you are not in the awareness of what is happening in front of you that you can shift your energy. But here's the amazing thing: if you can bring yourself to the moment of now, where you are fully connected in the energy of God, in the energy of we, it's literally all you need to do is take a breath and then release. Because in the now is where God exists. God is not in the past. God is not in the future. God is in this moment, in this time. And just like you are creating because you are the divine. So when you are in that space of energy where you allow yourself to pull yourself into this moment, first and foremost, you will always see in this moment, I am perfectly fine. So you can step out of that space of worry and self judgment. And then once you have centered that energy, you need to pay attention to your physicality. If the thoughts you are having feel heavy, or you don't feel good, or you're angry, or you're worried, or you're in doubt, spit it out because it's a lie. Your body will always tell you when you are believing the lie. We call that energy fear, but humans hate to be told they're in fear. But guess what? Fear is just false evidence appearing real. That's all it is. It's a lie. If your body doesn't feel good, that is your first indicator that you are buying into an old story that is no longer true. Do you understand?
I clearly understand. As a matter of fact, it almost sounds like you're downloading everything in my head and repeating it, right down to living in the present. And in my journey, something impactful happened 4 years ago. And then I met somebody who said to me, why don't you ever live in the present? And I said, I don't know. What are you talking about? You don't live now. You live in the past. You live in the future. You don't live now. It took me a long time to process that, put it together, figure it out. And now I get it. And it's almost as if somebody dropped her in front of me to say those words to wake me up. But you're 100% right in my belief that this moment, take it right here, slice it, this 1 second. Now the next one, right there, or this one, like that. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Nothing.
No.
And here's the amazing thing: in the moment, you can see that. And in the moment, you can then create the next moment from that point of energy. The moment you step outside to move forward thinking, you start to pull the old pattern through because the voice in your head, and Emmy calls hers Fred because it isn't always kind to her, and neither was some guy named Fred. So in reality, we like Fred because what we will say when you realize you're in the pattern. Have you ever had a thought and you go with it? And then suddenly you were feeling pretty good. And then you started thinking, well, what if this doesn't work out for me? Well, what if this happens again? It happened before. What if I'm not good enough for this? What if somebody else did this better than me? And you go down that train, that pattern, that response, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and your body is responding, but you're ignoring because you're following the thought. The moment you catch yourself in the thought, we ask you to say, and we will use, we say, shut the F up, Fred. And what that is, Fred to us is fear response energy denied. Using that F word literally puts a pause in your synaptic connections. Think of the power of that word when it's said. It automatically makes people pause. So when you can stop that space of energy, when you can stop that flow and let it go, then you can course correct, so to speak. Does that make sense to you?
It
And bring
does.
yourself right back to your moment.
FRED is an acronym for what again?
Fear reaction energy denied.
Writing it down to share it.
Perfect.
So I want to go back to that for a moment because we're in that moment of the present,
Yes.
and we brought ourselves there, and it's all good. And then another moment or two comes up, and then you start thinking about something, that's challenging you. But of course, you have no reason to worry about it. It's something in the future. What are you worried about? It's not even here yet. Let it go. Where's the reset? Is that where Fred comes in?
That's exactly where Fred comes in. Because when you feel that energy, and as you spoke, even as you spoke about it, your body tensed. Do you understand? Your mind went to that space of dread. And when you are in dread, your body shows signs. So you have to be conscious, mindful of what you are feeling. And we say be mindful all of the time, but we understand that is difficult for the human mind. So instead, give yourself a moment of self-check. If you were happy and then suddenly you're going the other way, stop and say, shut the F up, Fred. This is not true. Where am I buying into the lie?
Hmm. I'm getting download for dread. Don't really entertain a diversion.
Perfect. We like that. Now, can we steal that one from you?
We're sharing today, sure.
Okay.
um, Everything you're speaking of is what I have been studying over the last number of years. It's almost verbatim, and I'm being very serious with
Yeah.
with some flavor, i.e., Fred. Welcome, Fred, or go away, Fred, depending on how you want to look at it.
Exactly.
But it's a game changer when you realize these things. And I'm a radically different person than I was 5 years ago, realizing all of this. Now, woo-woo question coming, everybody. When you connect to your higher self, call it spirit guides, whatever it is, do you always make a connection? How do you make that connection? What do you say? What goes on?
Okay. If you're speaking to Emmy, we are always present within her physicality. We are always here. We never leave. So for her to connect, connection is automatic. She does not channel the energy. She embodies the energy. That is the difference from her perspective. But if we are speaking to others, what we will say to you is, all you have to do is ask. And here's the key. Many times people ask, God, universe, help me. Show me what's next. Give me the answer. The answer comes through and they go, no, that can't be true. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
So they allow that logical mind to override that voice from within, that inner self, that energy of God that speaks through each and every one of you. In that space of connection, it's always there. It's not outside of you. God is not up here in some chair. God is here within. And when you need to connect, we highly recommend you take that breath because that pulls you into God's energy. God exists in the breath, you see. So when you take the breath, put your hands on your chest and allow yourself to feel the energy. Does that make sense?
For sure. And
I mean, when you do this, your whole body starts to tingle, depending on your receptivity to your own truth.
when you speak about getting the answer and then denying it, logic
Mhm.
comes in. Come on, it can't be. Um, that sounds a lot to me like intuition, the gut feeling. Is it the same thing?
It is.
Okay,
That intuition, that gut feeling is God speaking.
that was my next question.
It is God speaking from within. You are God experiencing life as Steve. MaryElizabeth is God experiencing life as MaryElizabeth. Each and every human being watching this, listening today, are each God, named as they, experiencing life specifically from their perspective, from their experiencing. And here's the amazing thing. A lot of people believe that life will always be this way. It can never change. That is not true. As you say, you're a completely different person than you were 5 years ago. Guess what? You're a completely different person than you were 5 minutes ago. You are constantly evolving, constantly changing. You just have to decide if you want to stay in the haphazard living pattern and repeat the energy, or if you want to become more conscious and mindful and be aware in what it is you are sharing with the world.
Well, of course, it's easy to just repeat, rinse and repeat, because many of us don't like change. Many
Exactly.
fear it.
Exactly.
So we just keep running the same program, if you will, over and over again, either consciously or unconsciously.
It's an unconscious choice.
Hmm,
People are comfortable in what's familiar. Familiarity, no matter how uncomfortable, feels safe
sure.
because they know what to expect. And he always says this line, why would you make me psychic if you're not going to tell me what's next? You understand?
Sure.
Because you all want to know what the outcome will be before you step into the, let's say you're going to step into a pool. You want to know it's warm, not cold. You want to know what the experience will be versus experiencing exponentially because you have no idea.
It's
You
a great,
understand?
great analogy with the pool. Let's just say that we can't see the water. We know the water's there.
Mhm.
We don't know the temperature. We don't know the depth. We don't know if something is swimming in the water, but we know it's probably a good thing to go in the water. It's refreshing, can feel good. Is anybody going to jump in the water without knowing those variables? Many would say, well, I'm not going in that water.
You're
The
right. Many would. The majority would. But then there
majority.
are a few who embrace the new. And that is what we're trying to help each and every one of you do. Embrace the new and embrace what is different. Because if you can allow yourself to embrace what is different in life, you can embrace what is different in the person next to you. The divide you see simply comes because you're afraid of what is different. Does that make sense?
Sure. Sure. And looking at the water analogy, what's telling you it's okay to jump in has supported you for your entire life. If it's some person that looks a little untrustworthy walking down the street and says, hey, jump in the water. It's great. I'm telling you. You might not really trust them, but what's telling you to jump in the water, i.e., make change, is from within and has never screwed up, has never steered you wrong when you listen to it,
When you
when,
listen.
when you listen. How can you support people? How do we connect with you?
Well, you can reach out to me via my website, which is www.IamMaryElizabeth.me. Or you can always reach out to me via text at 661-524-4544. And you can always look on my website to see where I'll be out speaking or doing readings, which I don't do as much as I used to, but it is a space of connecting others.
Wonderful talking with you today. And I truly appreciate your ability to explain these things very clearly and concisely. And that is your superpower. It
Thank
really
you.
is. Yeah, it's taken me a journey to figure this stuff out, and you laid it down in 26 minutes. and it was very clear. Maybe I might not have been as receptive to it, 5 years ago, but I'd be listening and I would understand it. But when you start living some of the things that you're talking about, it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Absolutely. We're here in this time to plant seeds. So if you're not ready to believe it, that's okay too. But the fact that you hear it means you're meant to hear it. And the seed has been planted. And the moment it's meant to, it will bloom.
Do you feel that we're here for two reasons, to learn and to teach?
You are here to experience. You are here to grow. You are here to love. And that love is the most important thing. But we're going to tell you one very, very key factor there. To love, you must love yourself.
Yep.
Because without that, you can't truly love another.
Sure. And so many times, and I'm glad you said that, because as you led up to it and said, we're here to love, right away we get an image of loving somebody else. I want to love somebody else. You got to love yourself. It starts there. But so many of us feel guilty, egotistical, self-serving when you say, yeah, I love myself. How many people walk in front of the mirror alone and can say, I love you?
Very few.
Very few. Some
Very
it'll
few.
bring tears
Because
to
you're
their eyes.
taught that. Fred reinforces that. But the truth is, you are special. You are divine. You are an amazing human being. So embrace that energy, know that energy, and we challenge everyone listening to stand in front of the mirror today. And we highly recommend you stand 5 to 6 feet away, because the closer you are, the more you see what you perceive as imperfection. Stand away and just say, I am amazing.
Truth in that. And I had that epiphany about a year or so ago at the gym, where I was standing a distance from it, just like you said. And when you look at the total sum, you say, wow, you're actually all right. As opposed to when it's just your face and you're looking, zit here, pimple there, whatever it might be. When you look at everything you are, it's different. Thank you so much for today. Really, really appreciate talking with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate talking to you, and we'll speak again.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And, I never say the word hate, but Fred, I hate and I love you at the same time. All right. We'll catch up soon. Thanks again, MaryElizabeth.
All righty. Bye-bye, Steve.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.